This week on The Buzz, we have singer, songwriter, producer, rapper Ayomilly with us. Ayomilly, what's going on?
What it
What's
do?
good, y'all? How's it going?
Good, good. Thanks for checking in with us tonight, man. Listen, we got an amazing show ahead. Can't wait for you guys to hear what Ayomilly is up to, and just stay tuned with us. So this was already kicked off to be a pretty busy day for you, man. I know you had a release earlier in the month, and then you also had a new music video that was released tonight. So we appreciate you
hmm
in the midst of everything, finding some time to kick it with us tonight.
Of course. I'm happy to be here.
So
Glad to have you.
before we get started, we have a few questions here we want to just throw at you, a few icebreaker questions here we want to throw at you, just to just to soften things up a bit here, and then we can get into it.
hmm
First one here is going to be, are you a Android or an iPhone person? So what are you rocking right now, Android or
I'm
iPhone?
definitely iPhone. I've been iPhone since iPods were coming out. iPod second generation. Ever since that, I've always been
Oh,
iPhone.
okay,
I've had
okay.
an
Team
Android. I've had an
iPhone.
Android at times. I've had an Android at times. I'm not gonna lie, but I've always been iPhone. I love iPhone.
Okay. I
Yeah.
mean, I rock an Android. My co-host is Team iPhone, so I'm still
Team
waiting for that.
iPhone.
I'm still waiting on that one person that's gonna say, they use
Not gonna
Android.
happen.
I still haven't found that person yet, but it's all good. So then the second one would be Mac or Windows, because I know you do producing. So what is your production rig of choice, Mac or Windows?
I'm on Mac. I got most things Apple right now. Yeah, I'm a Logic Pro X user.
Okay.
For engineering, for producing, I'm FL Studio, so I could use Windows or Mac, but I prefer the Logic software to anything else, so that's why I have a Mac.
Okay, and then the last question here is going to be Biggie, Jay Z, Nas, or Tupac. So who is your favorite
What
'90s
happened to Eminem?
rapper?
No Eminem?
We could throw Eminem
You
in
can
there
throw an
too.
Eminem. Why
We could
not?
we could put Eminem in there. I'm just
We
going,
know that's my top five, but
Honestly, based off of my like Spotify and what I have most downloaded is definitely Biggie. Um,
Okay.
I appreciate all that type of music. I had a phase. I'm young, right? So I never was like fully into the old school hip hop, but I did have phases and I did listen to a lot of Biggie. I listened to a lot of all of them, but I'd say out of those, I mean Jay Z is definitely close, but yeah, I'm gonna have to say Biggie.
Okay,
that's my
okay,
kind of guy.
okay,
That's my
okay.
kind of
There we go. Now we could lighten it up, and we can jump
guy.
back into it.
For sure.
So, one of the questions, because we typically you would hear, the genre, your genre being referred to as many things, right? So you're hearing Christian hip hop, gospel rap, Christian rap, holy hip hop. So what do you, just to kind of set the record straight, what do you refer to your genre as?
Honestly, um, like I would just say hip hop, but I'm also not the guy that is gonna say that it's not Christian. I know a lot of people they like hate that title. They don't want that title. But me, it's like it's not that I don't like it. It's just I feel like once you say that to someone, they kind of they think of you as something.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I don't want people having that as the first impression. Because if you say, "Hey, I'm a Christian artist," a lot of people are just gonna be like, "All right, bye." Like, I'm not gonna listen to that.
Mhm.
Um, if you just say you're a hip hop artist, um, then that's up to them to go listen, and then they find out, okay, you're a Christian artist. I've already listened to that point, right? So I'm not scared of the label Christian artist. I would avoid it in like a first time talking to someone, first time meeting them scenario,
Mm-hmm.
um, to try and get them to actually listen first before they judge me, right?
Got it. No, makes sense. And then even, keeping in that same vein of prejudging, so how, you know, do you find, have you found yourself to be prejudged, just based on appearance? So, if you're showing up somewhere to sing, and then when you show up, they're looking at tattoos, they're looking at all of that. Like, have you been in a scenario whereby they're like, you you show up to the youth group to perform, and you got all the tats and everything, and they're like, what, did he show up to the wrong place? Like, talk to us about
Hon-
that.
Honestly, I haven't yet because I just started releasing Christian music a year ago today. It was a year ago today that I dropped my first song.
Mm-hmm.
And then COVID happened, so I actually haven't been able to perform since I started releasing music again. Um, so I haven't exactly had that. I've definitely felt that, I guess, like online sometimes. It's a little different though because you can't really see how someone's looking at you. It's more about seeing the reaction, like in messages, or
Mm-hmm.
like on Instagram Live or something like that. But I haven't faced that yet. But honestly, like I know it's gonna happen. But at the end of the day, I know once they hear what I have to say, all the tattoos, they won't matter. They'll understand kind of, it's when I was in the world and now it's different. So, and they're not like bad tattoos. I don't have any evil tattoos. They all have good messages to them still. So it kind of helps that I didn't, do anything extreme in the past, like with tattoos.
So you said that your first song, your first single was released a year ago today. Had you released any other music prior to that first single a year ago? Had you released any
Can you
other
hear me?
music? I can hear you now. You there?
Hello?
Yep,
Yep, we
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 can
can
I'm
hear
hear
you.
back.
you. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're back. You're back.
All right. All right. Where did I cut off?
I didn't hear anything yet. Did you hear the
Oh, that
question?
question.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
What was
Chanel.
it?
You can
It
ask
was
the
about.
question again.
I was asking,
Oh,
had you released any other music prior to the single a year ago? Prior to the first single a year ago,
y-
had you released anything else?
yeah. So I first released the song when I was 15. Um, I had been making music before that, but I never released anything. I was just really recording, like on my phone notes and stuff.
Mhm.
But I released about three songs I think in 2015, and then I stopped. And then in grade 12, I would have been 17. I released two mixtapes. They were um, they weren't I wouldn't say like they weren't secular or Christian. It was kind of just like clean. Like I didn't cuss or anything in those, but I wasn't talking about God or anything. Um, but then from there, I went on and I got into a whole bunch of other stuff, and that's when I was more in the secular scene for a couple of years, and then the end of 2019 was when a whole bunch of stuff happened, and I flipped around, and then 2020 was when I started releasing the Christian music. So
Got
So
it.
what
Got it.
was so what was that encounter like with Christ, that caused you to switch to Christian rap?
there's a lot of things, but I'd gotten pretty deep into some things, and my relationship with my parents had gotten real rough. I was in and out of the house a lot, and um, that was a big thing for me. I was always close with my parents growing up. I tried to be as close as possible, but they didn't like how I was living.
Mhm.
So there was always conflict. There was always something going on. So I would always leave and then come back and leave and come back. Um, but what a major thing that had happened. So I started going back to the church. I grew up in the church, right? So my dad was a pastor. My mom worked in the church. I was always close around all that stuff. I think I just my focus wasn't the same growing up. It was always about uh, pleasing my parents more than pleasing God, right?
Yeah.
So um, that was a major thing. But basically, I really wanted to. to rebuild my relationship with my parents because I really loved them regardless of how I was living, and I wanted to fix that. So that's when I started listening. I started going back to church,
Mhm.
and I had also missed a lot of friendships, relationships throughout the church. People who had watched me growing up, who even through all the terrible things that were going on in my life, they still all the time, or they said they were praying for me. They wanted to see me come back and all this stuff. So it was encouraging. And then I was kind of on the fence at that point, going back to church. Listening, being open minded about things that I was a mess. And I needed to figure out how to fix that. I needed to figure out what I needed to do to make me feel like myself again. But again, I wasn't 100% in.
Mhm.
And then what ended up happening was actually I went out with no intentions to drink anything or anything, but I went to the bar with a bunch of friends, and I ended up um, actually drinking a lot more than I expected, and I woke up in the hospital. My heart had pretty much stopped. They had to do a whole bunch of stuff on. I woke up at
Oh
like
wow.
7, 8 in the morning, and like I don't know anything that happened that night. I don't remember anything. I just remember just feeling like nothing. I just felt dark. Um, I went home that morning, and that was when just everything in my mind, I started remembering all the times that I was, close to death, times
Mhm.
that, I could have died easily from
Yeah.
either drugs or alcohol or situations I had been in with other people, that sort of thing. So I guess that's when I got real scared. I'd say that's the best way to put it. Was I was scared. I was um, like, what would have happened if I had died? Where would I be right now? And the answer
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
definitely not heaven. I knew about heaven. I grew up learning about heaven, and I knew that if I died that night, the night before, anytime, I was like, where am I going? I know where I'm going. I'm not going up. I'm going down, right? So that's when everything started to change, and that's when I started getting more into it. Um, I was still smoking at the time. I had been using marijuana just to help with anxiety and stuff like that. But it was real bad. Like it was there. I was at the point where I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep, I couldn't do anything unless I smoked. I couldn't even drive my car unless I smoked because I was just always really anxious about everything, and I needed something to calm me down. But then I actually remember the day. It was October 28th, when October 28th, 2019 was the day when I had been reading my Bible more the week prior. It's actually ironic, but like I would smoke, and then I wouldn't want to, but I would end up picking up my Bible and kind of just going through it, and picking a verse, whatever. And every day for about a week, a verse spoke to me, or I was on my phone on the U Version Bible app,
Mhm.
and the verse of the day was just basically just it was just speaking to me. And that's when I was like, all right, you know what? Like, I need to be all in or all out. And when I was all out, there was nothing good coming out of it. So that's when I decided. I was like, all right, I need to be all in. And at this time, I had also I deleted all my social media. I deleted all my old music, everything. I just completely ghosted for about 6 months. And even then, once I became a Christian again, and I was open about saying, hey, like, I'm a Christian, I still didn't know where music was going to fit in with all this. I didn't think I was going to do music ever again. I couldn't write anything. I didn't know what to talk about. I didn't know my own thoughts. I didn't know anything, right? But a couple months later was when I started actually recording again, and then things started flowing. And then it wasn't until I really did not care about a single person judging me, that was when I was able to start making music again. Was when I truly just, I did not care anymore about what anyone had to say, about me changing my life, becoming a Christian, whatever, judging me in that sense. I really just didn't care anymore, and I still don't care, and it feels a lot better like that, right? So yeah, that's how I transitioned into the whole Christian artist. So yeah.
I love it. I love it. And I just want to thank you for your openness and your
Yes.
transparency to tell your story. Like I know
For
that a lot
sure.
of our viewers are going to be blessed by your testimony, right? We overcame them by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of our testimony,
Yeah.
and that's your testimony. And
Mm-hmm.
since the word is a double-edged sword, it's going to bless others, but it's also going to bless and empower you too.
Mm-hmm.
So
For sure.
we both know that to be true. So I just want to thank you for taking the time to share that with us.
Yeah, yeah,
100%.
definitely. And again, I would say that was literally like your Nineveh experience, right? Because you were
Mm-hmm.
legitimately in the belly of the whale, like,
Right.
going
Yeah.
through some of those things, dealing with that. But once you came back out on the other end, I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
unstoppable, right? So that's why we're
For
here,
sure.
right? So like literally,
100%.
because
There you
as
go.
you're talking, that's what I'm seeing. Like I'm just like talking and I'm like seeing like you're going through all of this and then boom you come out of that moment
Mm-hmm.
and then you got hit with the realization like listen, with God I'm unstoppable. And then
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
let's get into the unstoppable. So you released
For sure.
this album. I mean, dude, listening to this album, it just hits after hits. And even when you were talking about your relationship with your parents, I was thinking about the track testing. And then I was
Mm-hmm.
also, when you mentioned about your friend, and I was thinking about never know. And like you really
Mm-hmm.
like just poured your heart, like you can tell, like when you were writing you were like in the moment, you're there. What
Mm-hmm.
you see is what you get. And like you just took us on a journey from one track from the beginning all the way, even with the collaboration, to the ninth track to the end. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I'm about to just like send this to all my teenagers. Like, listen, you guys need to stop listening to whatever you're listening to, and
Mm-hmm.
you need to listen to this. So just like, man, I don't even know where to start with that, but never know. So I mean, that was a traumatic experience what you went through at such a young age, losing your friend and then kind of taking that and putting that into song. So have you always used music to deal with trauma and expression? Like just talk to us about that moment.
100%. That's actually the first song I ever released was also about that situation.
Mm,
When I was 15, that was actually the first time I'd ever talked about it. I never after it had happened when I was a kid, when I was 8. I never went to therapy. I never talked to nobody. I didn't talk to my parents. I didn't talk to anybody. I just kind of, I mean, I was a kid. I didn't really know how to feel. Um, I just kind of treated it like it was nothing, just whatever. Like it's the way the world is. Maybe I didn't fully understand it. That's what the past couple years has been for me now,
mm-hmm,
is figuring out how I was feeling and why I reacted certain ways in certain situations. So that's that's where the music comes in for me, where I I don't think I would have really talked to anybody about it, because not only did I not want to talk, I'm not typically good with my words. I mean, it might sound like I am right now, but I feel like that's only because I've understood myself, and I understand now what I was feeling, and how I feel now, right?
mm-hmm,
So I wouldn't talk to a single person about it. But when I made that song, that's kind of how that's when everyone found out. Like I could talk to someone here and there about it, but I would never get into detail. Now I can openly speak about anything, any of the situations I've been in my life. I feel like I'm comfortable, right, talking about it. It doesn't change the fact that it was traumatic and it's sad, but at the end of the day, like I feel like people hearing about it is better than people not hearing about it. And me
yeah,
continuing to talk about it, every time I talk about it, I understand myself more and more. And the music is just, that was the way I could put my thoughts into something. And I've always been someone who likes to do things. Like I like to feel like I've done something with my day, or I feel like I've accomplished something. And finishing a song feels like an accomplishment, right?
yeah, for sure.
So, if I'm not putting in a song, if I'm just talking to someone about it, one, I don't really know what I'm talking about, or the order, or how I'm feeling. And then it's also like like what was it for? Like I don't really feel better. But maybe at first it was like, okay, like I put out a song, get some views. Like it feels nice to see that people are listening. It feels nice. The comments people have, the encouragement people are
Mm-hmm.
sending to me, people who relate. Who I've had people message me. My uncle just recently passed away. My grandfather, whatever, anything, right? I've that recently, and people are like, I really needed this. Like I heard, you spoke to me with this song, and that's encouraging to me because as a kid, you kind of feel like, okay, like it's just me, right?
Mm-hmm.
But growing up, you understand that the world is not nice, right? You understand that the world is a terrible place. It's beautiful, but it's terrible. A lot of terrible things happen, and I'm blessed. I mean, a lot of bad things have happened to me, but not like the next man. Like there's a lot of people who have been through a lot worse than me. So I always I just try to remain grateful and realize how blessed I really am. And for the people who feel like I felt, I want to talk to them because I want them to know that they're not alone, but at the same time understand that they're still blessed.
Yeah,
There's still a
yeah.
light at the end of the tunnel. You're not the only one.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
No, nice, nice. So yeah, man, like I said, just and exactly kind of what you touched on, because even listening to what you're saying, listening to the songs, going through it, it's definitely something there that, everyone can relate to one way or another. Like each song. So basically, God allowed you to go through some experiences. And at the time when you're going through it, you might not have always known, like, hey, I'm going through this because guess what? I'm going to be able
Mhm.
to write about it. I'm going to be able to share about it. Because one thing you said earlier that kind of stuck with me was at the time you really didn't know how to express yourself and speak about Christ, speak about what he's doing, speak about your experiences, because coming from
Mhm.
one side of the fence to the next, you weren't really sure how to go about that. So then all these things happen. You were able to see God for yourself. You were able to know, hey,
Mhm.
God, he's a healer. He brought me back. He did this for me. He did that for me. All these things could have happened in your life, but it didn't happen. So now you have that to stand on, and you're able to use that now, to speak to others. So I think, that
Mhm.
was just, your way of, going through that. So that in the end, all of us can be blessed from that. And like I said, that
Mhm.
the album in it of itself, man, it's a lot of hits, a lot of nuggets there. And even tonight, so you premiered, you dropped this new visuals for Unstoppable tonight. So like I said,
Mhm.
you're just grinding back and forth. So tell us about that. Like where did you get that shot? Was it here in the US? Did you get that shot and edited and all that in Canada? Like how was that collaboration?
Yeah, so that one was filmed in Toronto.
Okay.
That one's actually filmed around my area where I lived for the past 4 or 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it was in the church that I grew up in as well. Um, yeah, that one, and it was edited there. That was a while ago now. Um, I think we filmed it probably around October of last
Okay.
year. So I've had it for a while, because the album was originally supposed to be dropping November 27th of last
Got it.
year.
Okay.
But I didn't feel like it was ready. It was ready, like the album was done, mixed, ready to go. I just didn't feel like I was ready yet. I wanted to do a couple more things. I wanted to get connected a little more before I dropped this, because I didn't want to drop something and then not promote it, because I was busy working at the time. I was working 50 hours a week. I didn't have much
Oh
time.
wow.
So I didn't want to just like waste. I didn't want to waste the album, right? So that's why I waited. But yeah, the video that was filmed earlier. Um, it was the shots in the church. It was basically the idea for it that I had was I wanted it to kind of look like I was talking to, let's say, like the church or the youth,
Mm-hmm.
something like that, right? Like I couldn't have an audience because of COVID, but I implied that I was talking to an audience. And during the video, there's just flashbacks of what I'm talking about. So the whole point of the video is to kind of give a visual experience of what I'm talking about in the song. I feel like when you have a visual experience of that, you kind of feel it more. It hits harder. And I don't know, like even myself, like watching it, I kind of, got a little goosebump from it just because
Yeah, yeah.
it's when you hear something, it's one thing, but when you're watching it and hearing it, it's a whole nother experience, right? So I wanted people to experience on a deeper level of what I'm talking about, right? So that's kind of where that idea came from.
And the only way for them to experience that is that they need to head on over to your YouTube channel. You need to
Mhm.
get on YouTube. You need to type in Ayomilly, and you need to go
For
and
sure.
look at that visual for Unstoppable. Trust me,
That's
you're
right.
gonna love that visual. And the album was
Mhm.
dropped January 15th. So everywhere music is sold, everywhere music is streamed. Don't go asking your friend, for their iTunes account so you can log in. No, go support it. This guy's out here,
Cop that.
he's making music, he's sharing his experience,
Mhm.
go support him. Get his music, stream it, whatever it is, send it to at least five
Mhm.
friends, subscribe to his YouTube channel. I mean, you guys got to be able to go out there. You're hearing his story, you're seeing what's going on. You got to support it, man. That's one thing. That's the only way we can get this type of music in front of the youths, in front of others that really need it. Because, and that's been, as a parent, I have teenagers, and sometimes I'm always looking, trying to figure out, what are some good positive music I can just keep pumping to them and send them like, hey, check out this new artist, check out this person, because if you
Mhm.
don't, what's out there, what they're gonna gravitate towards. There's like a little in front of everything, a little yacht, boat, ship. There's like, so many different rappers
Mhm.
out there that is pulling their attention. It's like, because they're thinking that's hot. So the kingdom got hot music too. We just got to know it, and we got to get it in front of them. So, we respect you and we appreciate that you're out there putting out hot music, you're putting out dope tracks, and we salute you for that.
Thank you.
Chanel, you were saying something?
Now I was saying we rock with you, Ayo Millie. And I hear a budding preacher. I that's what I hear. When I heard you talking, I'm like, he sounds like a preacher. A rapper times preacher. So you exhorted the word today, and we just appreciate you sharing not only your story but your testimony with us.
Yes, and
Of
we
course.
appreciate you. Go ahead. You're gonna say something.
I was just gonna say I'm happy. I'm happy to share it. I'm glad you guys got me on here. This is only my second interview. The first one I did a week ago about with Unbound Visions TV.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I'm new to the interviews, but I like it. It's I'm comfortable talking with you guys about things. You guys make it real easy. So yeah,
And
I'm
and
glad
and
that.
we and we appreciate you coming on. So tell the people, where can they find you? What's your social media handle? Where can they find you? How can they connect with you?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you can just look me up on Google, Ayomilly. All my socials are connected to there. All my videos are connected. You can go to ayomilly.com. That's my official website. On Instagram and Twitter, it's Ayomilly with two Y's because for some reason I can't get Ayomilly with one Y. There's no account associated with Ayomilly with one Y, but they won't give it to me. So for now, it's two Y's. But yeah, honestly, anywhere you go, Spotify, iTunes, Apple, Amazon, it's just Ayomilly. I'm pretty sure I'm the only artist that's named Ayomilly. Actually, it's funny. I found someone about 19 hours ago who just dropped a song and they named themselves Ayomilly. So I don't know. Maybe I got some competition or
Wow.
something coming up, but I'm the original Ayomilly.
That's
So
right.
Exactly.
That's
You
so,
right.
heard
and
it
I
there.
have the artist page. I have the artist page on Google. You can go at genius.com, search Ayomilly. All my lyrics are there for all my songs.
Got it.
If you want to get it deeper, if you don't understand what I'm saying, some parts, you can read the lyrics. And yeah, with iTunes, like all the lyrics on there as well.
Mm-hmm. All
So yeah,
right.
Ayomilly everywhere.
Great.
Yeah.
Definitely. Thank you for rocking with us. Thank you for checking in, letting us know what's going on with you, what's going on in your world.
Mhm.
Again, you release the album January 15th. You released this hot visuals tonight. You know, we were excited to be able to see the visual, and an hour later got to chop it up with you. You know, we were the first one out there. You know, that's it. On release day of the visual, we here with him. Yeah, you need to go check this out. Thanks again for kicking it with us, man.
We appreciate you.
Of course. And I appreciate you guys too.